and here is my sweet cream or sweet corn casserole. I got 14 little circles out of this. Oh my gosh, that's 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And here we are. I didn't think it was gonna pop out that easily. I gotta get to chopping those onions. And you know what I forgot on my plate? A piece of sausage. Putting this on top. And oh my gosh, these are delicious. Isn't that cute? And there, that's the finished one. I wish I had videotaped in there. Hi everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making enchilada cups. I was inspired by a recipe by Nikki Limo. She did some enchilada cupcakes. Now, as some of you may know and some of you that don't know, well, I like to follow some recipes, but of course I always like to change something up about them. Sometimes I don't have the ingredients, or sometimes I just want to change it up and make it my own. So this is what I did. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the ingredients that I'm going to use for this, and then we'll get to making this enchilada cups. The first thing that we're going to need is going to be some maseca. This is corn masa flour, or well, corn flour. I don't know why I said corn masa flour, but anyway, this is for making corn tortillas. All this needs is some water. This is instant. You can buy this in a smaller packet. You don't have to get this big giant one like I did. I'm going to be using it quite a bit, so this is why I have a big packet now. You can get any brand that you like. Just make sure that you get something that's instant, so it'll be easy for you to do. It's not a scary thing at all. For this, 2 cups of flour, we're going to need 1.5 cups of some. I'm going to be using hot water, warm to hot water. I'm going to be using some ground beef. Now, the recipe that was inspired by used shredded chicken, but I'm going to be using a ground beef. And the ground beef, I'm going to just season it with some taco seasoning mix. You can use any brand that you like. If you want to go ahead and use your own blend of seasonings, go right ahead. But this is going to be the lazy, easy way. I'm going to be using some red enchilada sauce. You can buy any brand that you want. This is a mild. They do come in a little bit of more heat and or a medium and a heavier heat, but it just depends on your taste. I'm just going to go ahead and use a mild because it doesn't really matter to me. This is what I found, so that's what I'm going to use. I did get 2 cans. This is a 10-ounce can. I think I'm probably only going to need 1, but I got 2 because sometimes, you know, I look at things and I go, that needs a little bit extra. Now, if I didn't have 2 cans, because this is a little more expensive than just a regular tomato sauce, you can get a small can, like an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce to add into this if you feel like you want more liquid in your little recipe that you're going to be making. To my enchiladas, I'm going to be adding some corn. Pay no attention to this. I just noticed that I grabbed the cream corn, but I'm going to go in there and dig out the whole kernel corn out of my pantry. So anyway, you're going to be needing some corn, and you're going to be needing some black beans. You don't have to use black beans if you don't like. You can use pinto beans, you can use red kidney beans or navy beans, whatever kind of beans you like, or you can even leave that out. Leave out whatever you want. But these are the ingredients that I'm going to be using. Also some Mexican blend of shredded cheese. Use whatever you like. If you just want to use like some Monterey Jack or some queso fresco, that'll be awesome in your enchiladas. Okay, so the things that we're going to need is we're going to be needing a bowl to mix our masa in. We're going to need some muffin tins to make our little cups. And of course some oil spray for our cups. I'm going to be cooking the ground beef first in a separate pan. So I've got a pan and on my stove with a little bit of water. I'll show you how I like to cook my meat. And then, oh, one thing that I will tell you is that Nikki Limo did not use maseca. She used a polenta. So she used like an instant polenta mix to create her cups. But if you don't want to use that, you can use like a Jiffy muffin mix and just make your muffins like you would any other, you know, cupcake or muffin. Just follow the directions. All this needs is an egg and some milk. So go ahead and just make some of that, bake them, and then you can scoop out the center to create your cups. So if you're scared about using, you know, the maseca, you know, go ahead and use some of this or go the polenta way. I will tell you that maseca is a lower in fat, or corn flour is a lower in fat product, and it is gluten-free. So some of you who are looking to maybe skip on the gluten, that's a better way to go. So it's all up to you and the ingredients that you decide to use. So let's get you cooking this, right? Let's just get to it. All right, so the way that I like to make my ground beef is I like to put some cold water in my pan, and not cold like refrigerator cold, just, you know, nice cool water from your faucet or your filtered water, whatever you want to use. And what I do is I take the meat and I break it into the water. That's what I use the water for. I use about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of water. I'm probably going to pour a little bit more in here to break this up. This is 1 pound of ground beef, by the way, and you can use your favorite type of ground beef. If you want to use ground turkey or ground chicken, or use some shredded chicken, that's fine. Or you could also substitute it with your vegan product. So this is what I'm doing with the water. Helps me break it up so I don't have these large clumps. I'm going to add a little bit more water, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on my stove and start cooking my meat till it gets a little bit brown, and then we're going to be using that for our enchiladas. All right, the meat is starting to heat up. The pan is starting to heat up, actually, so the meat is going to start cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle the taco seasoning all over it. Oh my God, this smells so good. If you don't want to use the taco seasoning packet, or you can't find them, you can just use some black pepper, some garlic powder, salt, and some cumin. And if you want, you can sprinkle some paprika in there or some chili powder, all to give it that nice taco flavor. And then cook your meat, and then once it's done, you can give it a little taste. And if you feel like it needs a little more seasoning, just adjust that. So this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna let this continue cooking and browning. Let's go back now to, not back, but let's go to making our masa harina cups. Alright, so I've got my ground beef on the stove, and it is cooking up and it smells delicious. Meantime, I'm going to take 2 cups of the corn flour, and I'm going to add from my cup of warm water here. I'm going to add a little bit of water at a time. I want to form a dough, a soft dough, but I don't want to pour too much water. If I do, I can just pour a little more masa. It's no big deal. But I'd rather not have to do that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water at a time. And I've got 1.5 cups of water here ready. I may not use it all. I may use it all, or maybe a little bit more. Just keep mixing it. And really get your hands in there rather than using a whisk like I'm doing, because your fingers will help to form that masa. And as you can see, it's already starting to form. Let me go ahead and get my hand in there to form that masa. Taking it off the whisk here. I've used up all that, so now I'm going to go ahead and go into my 1/2 cup over here. And this is coming together real nice. Let's get some of this water over here where there's still dry masa. I should have taken off my rings. Let's do that. Now this bag here of masa tells me that 2 cups of masa and 1.5 cups of water makes around 19 tortillas. I'm not going to be making tortillas. I'm going to be making some little mini ones, so it's okay if I have a little bit more than what I need. But I'm going to be making some little mini ones that I'm going to put into my muffin molds, and I'll show you how I do that. This is almost ready. Let me show you up close what the masa looks like. Let me get that little bit of dry masa there, blended in there. You can see when you form it, it kind of forms like a clay. Your fingers, that's what you want, okay? But you want it so that it's not sticking to your fingers anymore. So all these little bits of masa, I'm going to take them off my fingers, and as you can see, look at that. Once you know that this is not sticking to your fingers, you don't have any of that, then you know that your masa is ready. Okay, so we're just going to put it in here. What you want to do is you want to put a little wet cloth over it, a little wet paper towel or something, so it doesn't dry out while you do other things. And I'm going to go and check on my meat, and then when we come back to form our tortilla molds. Okay, so I'm spraying my muffin tins with some of this baking or cooking spray. This is just a canola spray. Okay, so then you're going to take a little ball of the masa and just form a little flat, like a little pancake in your hand. Okay, so you want to form a flat, and we don't want it too thick though. We want it kind of like basically like almost the thickness of a tortilla. You can use your tortilla press for this if you want. And basically we just want this to be big enough so that when we put it into our muffin, we push it in, it'll form a little cup in there. So you're just going to press it. Any extra, just take it off. And that's what we're doing. We're just pressing that in there. Not too much because we don't want it to stick and pop out of there, right? So that's basically what you're going to do. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just kind of make sure that it's all kind of an even thickness all around. And I'm just making like a little wall here. So I'm going to continue filling these up with my masa, and we'll be back. Dough that I mixed up, and this is actually what, 8 of them, not 19. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but I've gone ahead and I pressed them down as much as I can. I want to put these in the ovens because I want to bake this. I want to make sure that the masa or the tortilla is cooked well. So this is my little tortilla cup for my enchilada. Okay, so let's put this in the oven. We're going to bake them for about 8 minutes, and we're going to check and make sure that they are cooked all the way through, and if they are, awesome. We're going to go ahead and work on the next part of this enchilada cup. All right, here we have our ground beef all cooked up. Again, this was a pound of ground beef with some taco seasoning mix. And I'm going to add a can of black beans. Now I've gone ahead and I've drained the liquid that was inside the beans. You can rinse them out if you want. I'm just going to throw them in from the can and mix those in. A can of whole kernel corn, which I've also drained, and you can rinse that out if you want. I'm just going to put it in from the can. And our enchilada sauce, and I opened up 1 can. I said I had 2, but I'm going to just open up this 1 can, or I've opened up just 1 can, and mix that in. Watch it splatter all over the place as I mix it. That's what it looks like. I think that looks pretty good. I don't need the 2nd can of enchilada sauce. What I also did get, and I didn't mention, was a can of diced tomatoes and green chilies. Now, you don't have to put this in. You could just add some fresh chopped jalapenos, or you could add your favorite salsa into it, or you could wait till after and garnish it with your favorite salsa. You don't have to put this in. You can just use some diced tomatoes in there if you want. But I'm going to go ahead and put that in there because it has a yummy flavor with those jalapenos in there. And this is what it's looking like. Looks really pretty. Okay, so to my meat mixture, I'm going to take about a handful of this cheese here, which is about maybe half the bag. This is a 8-ounce bag of shredded cheese, and I'm just going to put some of that in there and mix it in. And this is going to be our enchilada filling. I think you can see where we're going with this, right? Okay, I'm going to check on my tortilla cups for my enchilada cups and see if they're cooked now. It's been about 5 minutes that they've been in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and check them. And I said about 8 minutes, so I'm going to check them right now, and if I need more time, I'll go ahead and leave them in there. I'll let you know what was the complete time that I used. Now, to cook the ground beef, I used about 10 minutes to cook it, so that's what, if you wanted to know that, it takes about 8 to 10 minutes to cook. All right, we'll be back. Okay, by the way, my oven is at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't mention that before, so make sure you preheat that while you're cooking your meat, and before you get your little masa tortilla cups in the oven, because you want to make sure it's hot. You may even go up to 375. I feel like I probably could have gone up to 375. I've already have them in there for 8 minutes, and they're still a little bit raw on the bottom part, so I'm going to go ahead and leave them a little bit longer because I don't want that part to be raw. I want to make sure that that's cooked. That's the reason why those are being done separately from everything being put in the oven together. I want to make sure that the masa is cooked. So I'm going to leave them in there about another 5 minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, so it only took about 15 minutes for these tortilla cups to bake. And you can see that right there. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this meat filling that I made, and I'm going to put that inside of each cup. There we go. I want to fill each one of them up. Don't overfill them, just get them to the edge. And if you have any of this meat left over, you can use it for your next day. Make something different with it. Serve it with some chips, make some nachos out of it. Freeze it. Use it at another time to create these again. Or try them with a muffin mix. Try making little cornbread muffins and then hollowing them out and then putting this inside. Okay, these are almost all filled here. Again, I got to make 8 of them. Wait, this is not 8, this is 10, sorry. I got to make 10 of them. I feel like I forgot something, and then I was going to tell you what it was, but yeah, I did tell you about the oven, the temperature. Okay, because I had forgotten to mention it, what temperature the oven should be. Okay, so now we've got all our little meat filling in there. So what you want to do is you want to top it off with some more of this cheese. Like I said, you could use your favorite cheese. If you want to use some queso fresco, crumble it up and sprinkle it on top. That would be delicious. Or we could always add it on after for some extra cheese on there. And you could cut up some green onions, so just some regular onions. Also top these off with that. If you want to put that on there before you put it back in the oven, because we are putting them back in the oven. I didn't turn off my oven, I left it. I did turn up the heat to 375 because I felt like 350 was taking a little too long. But I think masa just takes quite a while to cook in the oven. Just like a corn tortilla, when you're making from scratch, they take a little bit longer to cook than a flour tortilla. So it didn't surprise me that it took long. Just it surprised me how long it actually took. Okay, so now I've got these with some cheese on top. I'm going to stick them back in the oven. All I want is for this cheese to melt. And then we're going to pull them out. Just want this to get nice and brown. And we're going to be ready to taste these and see how it turned out. All right, my enchilada cups are out of the oven, and the cheese is all nice and melted on top. Got a little toasty there. So now we're just going to let them cool off a little bit, and then I'm going to be pulling them out of the muffin tin and onto my platter. All right, these have cooled off a bit, not too much because I don't want to serve them cold. And they're easy to take out of the muffin tin. I'm just using a little bit of a little spatula to help me take these out. Look how beautiful they look. So yummy. I got one more, and I'm going to put it on a little plate because I'm going to go ahead and serve myself one. So here we go. All right, so this is ready to serve as is, or you could top it off with some sour cream, and I've got some sour cream right here. Sorry for my finger, but I only want a little bit on there. I'm going to use some fresh chopped onions, and I did mention that I did put that rotel, the diced tomatoes and diced chili, but I'm going to add a little bit of my favorite little hot sauce on top, just like that. Now let's see what it looks like when we cut into it. Well, let's get in here right here. Look at that. That looks so good. I'm going to take a piece from this side over here because I feel like that's the least attractive. Mmm. Mm-hmm. The only thing is, maybe make the tortilla a little bit thinner, but oh my gosh, this is delicious. I can't stop chewing on it. It's so good. Well, I hope you like my idea for these enchilada cups, and I hope you'll try my recipe. Please make sure to give me a big old thumbs up, leave a nice comment, subscribe and share, and as always, enjoy.